Fireworks are in the air and hopefully in capable hands. Make sure your 4th of July fireworks are legal and safe.
400,000 people visit emergency rooms for outdoor injuries every year. Find out what other injuries happen most frequently and how to prevent them.
I'm Carrie.
And I'm Lon Bakey. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Your Police Report, where we're enjoying the beautiful beach as we talk summer safety. Happy 4th of July.
Well, July is the busiest month for fireworks, but each year people break the law and get hurt in the process. Butch Gervais is here to remind us of the rules. Welcome Butch.
Thank you. So tell me who you think the biggest offenders of firework violations are.
People who buy the illegal ones, the ones that explode, the ones that shoot in the air, those are your biggest offenders.
Well, speaking of the illegal ones, what are the legal ones and what aren't?
Anything that explodes or goes in the air are illegal. Anything else is legal. Your sparklers, your fountains that you put on the ground, those type of things. Anything that stays on the ground, those are legal. But anything that explodes or goes in the air is all illegal.
Where can't you use a firework?
You can't use them in your public parks. You can't use them in the roadways. Basically, your private property is where you can use them.
Can you give us some general safety tips if you're planning to light some fireworks?
Well, make sure you're in an open area. Make sure you're not any place where you're going to have some dry grass, any woods. Make sure if you letting your kids, be around them, make sure they're far enough away so they don't get hurt. Have a bucket of water so that way after the things do shoot off and everything, you can take and let them sit there for a little bit and then put them in a bucket of water before you take and throw them away, because sometimes they still can be hot. And if one doesn't go off, don't go up there and grab it and try to light it again. Just consider that it's a dud and don't do anything with it and just let it sit there for a while and then take and put it in a bucket of water before you throw it away.
Now, it should go without saying that alcohol and fireworks aren't good together, but for review, tell us about that.
Yeah, if you plan on doing any type of fireworks, don't drink any alcohol, because people make stupid mistakes when they start doing it. Thinks, one is good and 10 will be better, so they put a bunch of them together and then we have nothing but a problem after that. Because the fireworks themselves are extremely hot, and if they get put on your skin, it's going to start burning, and then you're going to be in the hospital, in the emergency room, dealing with those.
All right, well, what advice do you have if someone sees their neighbor shooting off fireworks and they don't want to call the police? What would you recommend they do?
Well, what they could do is they can go over and talk to their neighbors first and ask them, hey, those are illegal, you can't be shooting them off. If that doesn't work, if they don't want to call the police, there's not much else they can do. Don't call the fire department, because we're not going to come out there and deal with the neighbors shooting off the fireworks. That's going to be a police matter. It's not going to be a fire department matter.
Yep.
Any final thoughts for our viewers?
If you plan on doing the fireworks, make sure that you do them safely and enjoy yourself.
And stay sober.
And stay sober.
Thank you.
Thanks, Butch. Appreciate your time. For more information, visit the Minnesota Department of Public Safety's website.
We're going to take a quick break, but first, here's a look at this month's Maplewood Community Minute.
Do you want to be a part of a national crime fighting movement? Hello, I'm Nick Kreckler, and for the past 31 years, neighbors and police have been uniting to bring down crime. Maplewood's National Night Out is Tuesday, August 5th from 5 to 9 p.m. The event will include nearly 16,000 communities with over 37 million people participating nationwide. National Night Out is designed to heighten crime and drug prevention awareness, generate support in local anti-crime efforts, strengthen neighborhood spirit and police and community partnerships, and send a message to criminals. There will be block parties, cookouts, mini carnivals, and visits from both police and fire officials. If you'd like to organize a block party, you can easily register online. So make sure to join us for the 2014 National Night Out. It's fun. You'll be fighting crime, and best of all, it's free. Hope to see you out there.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Welcome back. So we made it through the long winter, and during the few months of warm that we have, people tend to pack a lot of activity into a short period of time.
Along with a lot of play comes an increase in emergency room visits. Dr. Carolyn McClain is here to talk about those visits. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you.
Can you tell us the main difference between the urgency room and the emergency room?
So the main difference between the urgency room and the emergency room is your experience. So it is an emergency department that is not attached to a hospital, and we are open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, 365 days a year. And we have everything an ER has, only you get in and out fast and have a much better experience.
Wow. Well, as the weather gets warmer, what kind of an increase do you see in the number of visits you get?
We get a lot more visits in the summer. It's very busy, and most of them are injury related.
Okay.
What is the main injury that you treat?
Probably broken bones, wrist strains, sprains, broken bones, insect bites, infections, that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, let's talk about garden-related injuries or trips.
So mainly with gardening, since it's such a routine activity, you don't think about what you're wearing before you go outside. So people will wear flip-flops, they won't wear gloves, and we see a lot of serious cuts. I've actually seen recently someone actually cut off the tip of their finger with their trowel.
Oh, wow.
So mainly what I recommend is that you dress appropriately. So the other issue with gardening is people will try to lift things that they're not used to lifting. They don't lift properly. So they're lifting a big bag of mulch up and they get back strains. So if you're gonna garden, just remember that it is a sport and that you need to be prepared when you go out. Wear hard sole shoes, wear gloves, wear long sleeves so you don't get bitten up, and watch out for ticks. This is a bad tick season.
Oh, wow.
So you kind of answered my next question I was going to ask, so I'm just going to ask you about fireworks. How can we stay safe with fireworks?
So not using them would be a good start. Fireworks tend to give serious hand injuries and burns. So ideally you don't hold them when they go off. But in general, just do it safely. When you use fireworks, be sober. Make sure you're above 18. Don't give them to your kids. And use them properly. Don't keep them in your hand when you light them, and make sure that no one's around so that you don't inadvertently injure someone. And don't throw them into your campfire.
Yeah, that's never a
And
good
as you
idea.
It's happened.
as you mentioned, the alcohol would play a big role into holding on to them too long and doing.
And it's the
things
4th
like
of
that.
July, so people are having a lot of fun. Just be very careful with your fireworks. You need your fingers.
Well, yes, they come in handy. This is true. Something I think is fun to do in the summer is trampoline. What about trampoline injuries?
So trampolines are so much fun, but I don't think a day goes by that I go to work that I don't see a trampoline-related injury. What happens mainly is it's wrist fractures and broken ankles. And what happens is kids are jumping, or adults are jumping with other adults or other kids on the trampoline, and someone will land on them. And I just had this 4-year-old the other day where someone landed on him, and he actually had such a severe break, the bone was through the skin. So just make sure that kids are the same size on your trampoline, and ideally one at a time. I know that kids don't find that fun, but one at a time is the safest way.
So it's not as much people falling off of the trampoline as it's happening on the trampoline.
Now most of the trampolines have those nets around them, so that has gotten significantly better. But it doesn't stop you from having a broken wrist or a broken ankle.
Right.
And I seriously see almost one of those a day from a trampoline.
What are some other common ailments that you treat?
Well, at the urgency room, we're also an emergency department, so we do see a lot of chest pain, heart attacks, strokes. But some are related stuff: sunburn, really severe sunburns, heat stroke, dehydration, wrist strains, sprains, back pain.
Do you ever get guys with bald heads having burns on their head? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That never happens. All right, just to wrap up then, what would you tell our viewers to do to kind of minimize their likelihood of ending up in your urgency room?
So when you go out in the summer, just be prepared for what you're doing. Bring plenty of water, dress appropriately. One of the most important things is if you're biking, wear a helmet. I see kids are doing a great job of wearing their helmets, but their parents are not.
Right.
And you need to raise your children, so please wear your helmet so that you can do that. And wear plenty of sunscreen, wear insect repellent, just be prepared, and you won't end up in the urgency room.
Well, thank you for coming in, Doctor. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
A lot has changed in terms of treatment at the Stillwater Prison in Bayport, but one thing has remained the same: its building.
Media were recently invited inside for a rare glimpse at prison life. Here's a look.
Stillwater Prison has been operating in the same building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For 100 years, Warden Michelle Smith worked at the women's prison in Shakopee before coming to Stillwater, now managing over 1,600 male inmates.
But I find them to be respectful, and working with men can sometimes be sometimes easier than working with women.
Although most crimes committed by inmates at Stillwater are violent, it's a level 4 closed security prison, Oak Park Heights being the only maximum security facility in Minnesota. Smith says because most offenders will get out, it's important they're offered educational opportunities and treatment programs on the inside.
Most of our offenders are going to be released at some point, and they're here for a certain period of time or stay. So they need to have the ability to make better choices, and we're hoping that the things that we do for them here are giving them options for those better choices.
Education is paid for by MinCorps or donated through grants. Inmates can earn an associate's or bachelor's degree, and the more inmates take advantage of programs, the more privileges they receive.
Those open and close the windows. Yep, in the summer we come by with a big crank.
Unlike more modern utilitarian facilities, Stillwater has a Victorian charm. Each cell block is 3 floors high.
They outnumber us.
And houses 284 inmates. Staff conduct routine lockdowns to check for contraband, and even though security is tight, it does find its way in.
Things that are maybe thrown over the wall, sometimes things are smuggled in, sometimes things come in through the mail, sometimes they make things.
Inmates are allowed visitors 4 days a week, but cannot touch during the visit to prevent passing of contraband.
They're allowed to embrace and kiss on the cheek.
Although staff says there isn't a great deal of violence, there are still issues with gangs, otherwise known as security threat groups. About 45% of inmates in Stillwater are black and 43% are white, with the average age being 36.
The longer you're here, the more comfortable they are with you.
Yeah.
And then you are somewhat with them.
On a typical weekday shift, 65 officers are assigned in the main building. They also employ a canine guard used to perform cell searches and inmate transports. With over 1,600 inmates, it's important to keep them active. Inmates have access to a gym they pay for through wage deductions and amenities, so no tax dollars are used. And Minnesota is a mandatory to work state. In Stillwater Prison, there are more inmates than jobs available.
We don't want obesity and...
The prison serves inmates 1,800 calories a day, and they've been progressing toward healthier meals in order to avoid health care costs resulting from obesity and heart disease.
We have to make those transitions very gradually because food is very important to the offenders.
Staff describes the prison as its own little city, complete with a health clinic and chapel. And although sentences range dramatically based upon the crime, the average length being 105 months, the hope is the opportunities provided behind these walls will prepare offenders to reintegrate into society. In Stillwater, this is producer Mary Klein with photographer Nick Anderson.
We're going to take another break, but when we come back,
We'll tell you how to be safe in the water.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, 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 whoa. Can you feel the sun?
The beach is a popular place to spend the day, but it's important to know how to be safe in the water.
Carrie Carlson-Guest from the American Red Cross is here to talk to us about water safety and blood donation campaign this summer.
Welcome, Carrie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
4 kids have drowned recently with parents nearby. Can you tell us how this happens?
Drowning is actually the second leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 14. And often, people see movies and they think of drowning as wild and flailing, when in actuality, drowning is very often silent. And the majority of children that drown have been out of sight for less than 5 minutes with one or both parents present.
Wow. Why is it good to check the water first?
If a child goes missing, the first place you want to check is the water, because drowning is definitely a possibility, and seconds matter when that could result in disability or death.
On land, you could always find them and take care of them, but if they're in the water, like you're saying, time is of the essence.
Right, and drowning is very often silent. People slip under the water, and so you need to be watching your children. Lifeguards are not substitute babysitters. They are there to watch everyone on the beach. And so parents really need to be vigilant and watch their children while they're in the water.
And watch the horseplay too, because sometimes they can be playing and one kid pushes one under and it's not that big of a deal, but that other one, if not a good swimmer, can easily just go under. Do you recommend swim lessons? And if so, where can people get those?
Everyone should know how to swim, especially in the land of 10,000 lakes and thousands of pools. And there are swimming lessons available across the state. One of the places you can find them is by going to redcross.org/NorthMN. Click on our aquatics button, and we've got a full list. Otherwise, there are a number of organizations you can Google and find swimming lessons near you. Another option is we have a free swim app. So in addition to swimming lessons, we recommend that people download our Red Cross swim app. You can create a profile for your kids. There are quizzes and safety tips on there, and it's a great way to supplement those swimming lessons. And we also want to recommend that if children are not strong swimmers, that they wear a Coast Guard approved life jacket while they're swimming.
And coming from an app, they're probably going to take it seriously versus if it comes from mom or dad. So.
It also it can seem like a game, and they can earn badges and points, and it seems a little bit more interactive and fun. It's a good thing to do while you're taking a break, maybe after swimming for a little while. Come back, take a break, and brush up on those safety tips.
To switch gears, we all know blood's very important. Can you tell us about the summer blood drive?
The Red Cross is responsible for nearly 40% of the nation's blood. And in the summertime, we see a dip in those numbers because people are out of school, they're going on vacations with their families, but we still need to collect 15,000 units of blood every day. And so with the 100 days of summer, there are 100 days that you can give hope to someone in need. So we're recommending pick one day this summer and go donate blood. You can go to redcrossblood.org, find a location near you, and save up to 3 lives.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. That's great information, Carrie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more information on swimming safety or where you can donate blood, log on to the American Red Cross website. Well, if you're looking for a way to keep your kids busy this summer, here's a look at the smartest play spot here in Maplewood.
Producer Joe Cullen and photographer Jeff Melcock have the details.
A little bit of the Minnesota Children's Museum can be found in Maplewood. About a year ago, the Ramsey County Library branch in Maplewood acquired a smart play spot from the museum.
The smart play spots were designed to take the Children's Museum out into the community to places where the community members weren't able to, either for economic or transportation issues, get down to the museum. So it was just putting a little bit of the museum out into the communities where it was needed. So we thought this was a perfect space for it. They did have dimension sizes, and ours fit perfectly.
The Minnesota Children's Museum opened up applications for the smart play spots. Winning libraries get half of the project paid for through legacy funds and are then responsible for the other half. Maplewood Children's librarian Monica Stratton tells us the benefits of having a smart play spot in her library.
We want to promote certain things to help develop children's reading skills from birth all the way up to age 6 or 7. To read together, to play together, to develop imagination and a sense of what's possible in the world, to sing together. So there's songs, actually the words of songs are on some of these things, which helps break language down so that kids can understand that words are made up of different sounds. To write together, and we have a post office right here, and that sort of encourages the idea that you can write, and to talk together.
Stratton says she's heard nothing but positive comments about the smart play spot from kids and parents, although she does often hear the same question from other curious onlookers.
Why do you have toys in the library? Isn't it for sitting down and reading a book and being quiet? Well, libraries are kind of changing, and they're especially with like pre-K and younger. It's a place where kids can really start working on those early learning skills, and we know how to do that, and we can provide the tools that kids need to do those 5 things that I talked about earlier.
For hours and other information, visit the library's website at rclreads.org.
That wraps up this edition of Your Police Report. We want to remind you to join us for National Night Out this August.
Hope to see you out celebrating safety with your neighbors, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.